Hello and welcome. In today's video, we are going to read the chapter Tom Has a Toothache, an extract from Mark Twain's famous novel The Adventures of Tom Sawyer. It was first published in 1876. Mark Twain's real name was Samuel Langhorne Clemens. He was born on 30th November 1835 in the tiny village of Florida, Missouri. He was the sixth child of John and Jane Clemens. He was an American writer, humorist, entrepreneur, publisher, and lecturer. He was lauded as the greatest humorist, and William Faulkner called him the father of American literature. He died on 21st April 1910 in Redding, Connecticut, at the age of 74. Some of his famous works are The Innocents Abroad, Roughing It, The Gilded Age, A Tramp Abroad, etc. Now the chapter. Before we start the chapter, here are questions for you like which is your favorite day of the week and why? What do you mean by Monday blues? Why do you think people experience it? I tell you, I love Sunday because Sunday gives me relaxation from all the works I have been doing throughout the week. This is one reason, but the most important and main reason is that we go to the church, pray and worship God. God has made this day holy. This is when we all gather together and share our experiences, feelings. It is really good and I like it. Let's read the chapter. Monday morning found Tom Sawyer miserable. Monday morning always found him so, because it began another week's slow suffering in his school. He generally began that day with wishing he had had no intervening holiday. It made the going into captivity and fetters again so much more odious. Let's see difficult words in the passage. Captivity, it means prison. Fetters, it means chains used to keep someone prisoner. Odious, it means extremely unpleasant. Tom Sawyer is a young boy who is delighted when Saturday comes. Sunday also passes happily, but when Monday comes, he becomes super sad. He does not want to go to school. On Monday morning, he feels it was better not to have holidays than to have and lose them and again back to school, because to go to school after holidays seemed to be extremely unpleasant to him. Tom lay thinking. Presently it occurred to him that he wished he was sick, then he could stay home from school. He was a vague possibility. He canvassed his system. No ailment was found, and he investigated again. This time he thought he could detect colicky symptoms, and he began to encourage them with considerable hope, but they soon grew feeble and presently died wholly away. Let's see difficult words in the passage. Vague. Vague means not clear. Ailment. Ailment means any illness that is not very serious. Colicky. Colicky means experiencing severe pain in the abdomen. Now Tom is lying in the bed. He thinks of an idea which can work to prevent him going to school, but he finds none. Then he wishes it was better for him to be sick so that he could stay home. He tries to find out any illness in his body again and again. Suddenly he says to himself that he has pain in his abdomen, but that pain also ends soon. He rejected further. Suddenly he discovered something. One of his upper teeth was loose. This was lucky. He was about to begin to groan as a starter, as he called it, when it occurred to him that he came into court with an argument. His aunt would pull it out, and that would hurt, so he thought he would hold the tooth in reserve for the present and seek further. Nothing offered for some little time, and then he remembered hearing the doctor tell about a certain thing that laid up a patient for 2 or 3 weeks and threatened to make him lose his finger. So the boy eagerly drew his sore toe from under the sheet and held it for the inspection. Difficult words in the passage. Groan. It means to make deep sad sound in pain. Starter. It means something that starts. Inspection. Inspection means careful examination. As he is trying to find an illness, he discovers that his upper tooth is loose. He becomes happy and decides to start groaning. Then he remembers that his Aunt Polly will pull it out and it will be so painful. He rejects this idea and suddenly gets another one. He remembers that once a doctor had told that if a person has sore toe, he should rest for 2 or 3 weeks or he can lose his finger. He finds later excuse better and taking his toe from under the sheet, he starts examining it carefully. So now he did not know the necessary symptoms. However, it seemed well worthwhile to chance it. So he fell to groaning with the considerable spirit. But Sid slept on unconscious. Tom groaned louder and fancied that he began to feel pain in the toe. No result from Sid. Tom was panting with his exertions by this time. He took a rest and then swelled himself up and fetched a succession of admirable groans. Sid snored on. Tom was aggravated. He said, "Sid, Sid," and shook him. This course worked well, and Tom began to groan again. Let's understand the difficult words and then explanation. First word is symptoms. Symptoms mean signs of illness. Next is snore. Some people sleep making sounds, loud sounds like khar khar. It is called snoring. Last word is aggravated. Aggravated means to be angry. Though Tom does not know what the signs for snore are, even then he tries the trick. He starts making sounds to express his pain. He thinks that Sid, his brother, will listen to him, but his brother does not listen to him and he keeps on sleeping soundly. He produces sounds all the louder, but that's all in vain. Now when he sees that Sid does not listen, he shakes him and says, "Sid, Sid," and carries on his drama. Sid yawned, stressed, then brought himself up on his elbow with a snort and began to stare at Tom. Tom went on groaning. Sid said, "Tom, say Tom." No response here. "Tom, Tom, what is the matter, Tom?" He shook him and looked in his face anxiously. Tom moaned out, "Oh, don't say, don't joggle me." "Why? What's the matter, Tom?" "I must call Auntie." "No, never mind. I'll be over by and by. Maybe don't call anybody." "But I must. Don't groan so. Tom, it's awful. How long you been this way?" "Hours. Ouch. Oh, don't stir so. Said you'll kill me." "Tom, why didn't you wake me sooner?" "Oh, Tom, don't. It makes my flesh crawl to hear you. Tom, what is the matter?" Let's first understand the meaning of difficult words and then explanation. Yawn, meaning to open your mouth wide and breathing in deeply, especially when you are tired or bored. Joggle, meaning to make someone to move with repeated small jerks. Crawl, meaning to move slowly. Now finally Sid wakes up and looks at Tom with wonder because he does not know what the matter is and why Tom is groaning. He asks to Tom, but Tom does not reply. He just keeps on groaning. He jerks Tom and asks the matter. Tom shows as though he is hurt even at being touched. Tom gets scared and says that he will call Auntie. But Tom says no, there is no need to call her. Sid asks Tom to stop groaning as it is scaring him. "I forgive you everything, Sid." Groan. "Everything you have ever done to me when I am gone." "Oh, Tom, you ain't dying, are you?" "Don't, Tom. Oh, don't. Maybe. I forgive everybody, Sid." Groan. "Tell them so, Sid. And Sid, you give my window sash and my cat with one eye to that new girl that's come to town. And tell her." But Sid has snatched his clothes and gone. Tom was suffering in reality now. So handsomely was his imagination working, and so his groans had gathered quite a genuine tone. Sid flew downstairs and said, "Oh, Aunt Polly, come. Tom's dying." In this passage, ain't means is not, am not, are not. It is informally used. Window sash means a glazed window frame. Now Tom plays the drama like a perfect actor. He pretends to be in great pain. He talks to Sid just as people usually talk when they are actually going to die. He asks Sid to give all his belongings to a new girl in the town. Sid is easily convinced by his drama. He rushes downstairs and calls Aunt Polly to see him. "Dying?" "Yes, don't wait, come quick." "Rubbish, I don't believe it." But she fled upstairs nevertheless with Sid and Mary at her heels, and face grew white too and her lips trembled. When she reached the bedside, she gasped out, "You, Tom, Tom, what's the matter with you?" "Oh, Auntie, what's the matter with you? What's the matter with you, child?" "Oh, Auntie, my sore toe is mortified." The old lady sank down into a chair and laughed a little, then cried a little, then did both together. This restored her and she said, "Tom, what a turn you did give me. Now you shut up that." Difficult words in the passage. Rubbish. Rubbish is dialectal variant of rubbish. Dialectal word is made from dialect. That means local language of a particular area. Gasped out. Breathed in or out deeply with open mouth in distress, anger, or exertion. Mortified. Suffering from tissue death. Sid asks Aunt Polly to hurry. Aunt also becomes scared as she loves Tom. But when she reaches near the bed on which Tom is lying, she realizes the matter. As Tom says his sore toe is unhealthy, she takes the chair and laughs out loud and scolds Tom for his drama. "Shut up that nonsense and climb out of this." The groan ceased and the pain vanished from the toe. The boy felt a little foolish and he said, "Aunt Polly, it seemed mortified and it hurt, so I never minded my tooth at all." "Your tooth? Indeed, what's the matter with your tooth?" "One of them's loose and it aches perfectly awful." There, now don't begin that groaning again. Open your mouth." "Well, your tooth is loose, but you are not going to die about that. Mary, get me a silk thread and a chunk of fire out of the kitchen." Aunt rebukes Tom and asks him to leave the bed. Now Tom has known that his trick does not work. So he tries to fool Aunt saying he has a tooth that is loose. Aunt is aware of his mischievous mind. She decides to pull the tooth out so that it will be a lesson for Tom and he will never ever make excuse to skip school. "Oh, please Auntie, don't pull it out. It doesn't hurt anymore. I wish I may never stir if it does. Please don't, Auntie. I don't want to stay home from school." "Oh, you don't you? So all this row was because you thought you would get to stay home from school and go a-fishing. Tom, I love you so, and you seem to try every way you can to break my old heart with your outrageousness." Now when Tom sees that his plan has backfired and he is going to be punished mercilessly, he admits that it was all to stay home from school. Listening this, Aunt feels hurt and says she loves Tom so much, but he always breaks her heart by his actions. Let's have a quick view on the summary of the chapter. In the chapter, Tom has a toothache. There is a boy named Tom. He lives with his Aunt Polly. One Monday morning when he wakes up, he feels to be unwilling to go to the school. He plans that he will make an excuse. He says that he has a paining sore toe. This does not work. He makes another excuse, that is that he has a loose tooth. Aunt Polly gets ready to remove that. He admits his guilt and says it was all just from keeping himself away from school. Aunt Polly feels hurt knowing his actual intention behind this all. So this was all for this chapter. If you care, like, subscribe, share. Thanks.